That said, as I mentioned before, I work for the Bluetooth Special Interest Group. We don't build the products, but we do manage the technology on behalf of the companies that ultimately implement it into their products. We work with companies to help innovate on the specification with new capabilities that are used in a variety of different use cases, markets, and applications. We also manage all of the qualification and certification to ensure that all devices ultimately interoperate and are compatible with each other using the technology. And then we also are the promoters of the brand, new market opportunities, use cases. We manage the integrity of that brand, as well as help build new market opportunity for companies that are using Bluetooth technology. Now, if I went up to any random person and asked them, well, what do you know about Bluetooth? They'll probably go, maybe they'll go like this, or they might talk about their smartwatch or a fitness band, or maybe their, speakers or something like that. And Bluetooth technology has a wide set of applications, everywhere from commercial to industrial to manufacturing to sports and fitness to audio. And what we're going to talk about here today is what's happening in audio for Bluetooth. So Bluetooth has been innovating in audio for 20 plus years, has been building audio capabilities and building in new capabilities for the audio capabilities and features and use cases that you know today. But many of you probably don't know that the audio capabilities of Bluetooth are actually going through an architectural overhaul and in the background, and is starting to develop a new, more flexible model with lower power, as well as more flexibility for more feature capability for devices that are coming into the market. And one of the features and capabilities that we're excited about going forward is what we call Auracast. Auracast is a broadcast technology. It allows a Bluetooth device to be able to transmit a Bluetooth audio signal to an unlimited number of in-range devices. This is no longer your one-to-one relationship that you have between your earbuds and your phone. This is truly broadcast capability where an unlimited number of people can be listening to the same audio at the same time in perfect synchronization in public spaces, for private and for public use. So there's a little known secret that when we talk about accessibility and how accessibility can be used in the audio space, it actually can be much, much more than that. And this is a new standard feature, and is a standard feature that's going to be making its way into all Bluetooth devices over the coming years. It's already in many Bluetooth devices, and I'll talk through that as well. It's multi-channel, it's multi-stream, so you can have more than one audio stream, more than one audio broadcast coming from a single transmitter, potentially transmitting different audio content. It's low latency, high quality media and audio capability. You can have it as open or private, so it can be a password protected, so you can lock it down for a particular audience if you wanted to. And as I mentioned before, it's delivering assistive listening, but it's also delivering more and new sort of life-changing applications for and experiences for audio in public spaces. And that's where I think there's a bit broader application for this audience here today as well. So before I get into the use cases, I just wanted to quickly talk about how it actually works. So there's three components to an Auracast system. There's the transmitter. The transmitter can be anything. It can be your phone, it can be your TV, it can be your PC, laptop, it could be another speaker, it could be any type of system that may originate or be originating or a source application for audio that you want to broadcast. And then you have your receivers. Receivers can be anything from your earbuds to headphones to dedicated receivers with headsets associated with them, hearing aids, cochlear implants, anything that is a body-worn sort of audio-based device. Even speakers can become a receiver of another audio broadcast. And that receiver is managed by the third component, which is an assistant. Now, when you think about how this system works, the assistant actually sees advertisements that come from the transmitter that's basically telling the world, here's a broadcast that's available. The name of the broadcast, the quality type, what potential type of content it is transmitting. And the assistant reads that information, displays it for the user, and the user then uses that as a model for selecting which one do I want to listen to. And once you say which one you want to listen to, it instructs your audio device, your hearing aid or your earbuds and so on, to start listening to the information, start listening to the stream. The assistant then is no longer in the picture. It's direct audio from the source to the receiver, direct audio, low latency audio capabilities. The phone then is just used for if I want to turn it off or I want to go to a different stream, whatever I might want to do with that orientation. So that's the basic arrangement for how Auracast and broadcast works within Bluetooth technology. Now, how does that apply to different experiences and use cases? So some of the key experiences that you'll hear us talk about, the first one, of course, because it's got its roots in assistive listening technology, it is actually the hearing aid companies that came to the Bluetooth Special Interest Group first, asking for and looking for new innovative ways of delivering audio capabilities to hearing aid and cochlear implant users. And so this is where you just need a little bit more. You just need a little better audio. You need to crisp it up, or I have hearing loss, and I'm looking for something else that can help supplement that hearing. So the example might be, and we can all use this actually, you might be in the gate at an airport, and there's multiple gates around you. They're all broadcasting, and they're all saying something at the same time, and you just want to focus in on your particular information. And so you tune into this particular broadcast, and then you're hearing only the audio that's coming from that particular gate that you care about. The second sort of experiences are around what we call unmute your world. Silent TVs are everywhere. They're in bars, they're in gyms, they're in airports, they're in waiting rooms where you have a visual experience, but you have no audio experience because they don't want to contribute to the audio pollution that's already happening within that environment. So what you can do here is you have an Auracast transmitter associated with each one of those TVs, and the broadcast audio from that allows you to see what's available, tune into it, and listen to it directly into your earbuds or hearing aids or whatever audio device you choose. The third area is around sharing your audio. We see this a lot with the mobile devices like tablets and PCs and phones and so on. And this is where I want to share my audio with you. So I set up a broadcast from my phone, no more sharing of earbuds because you want to listen to the same music. I actually set up a broadcast from my phone. It might have a QR code on it that you can actually scan, and then you start listening to the same music that I'm listening to, and we create almost like a personal audio jam between us. Or if we're watching a video, we're all listening to the same audio at the same time associated with that particular video. There's other opportunities for this type of experience around connecting your experience. Devices like these in the future, this is the case for my earbuds. It's actually also an Auracast transmitter. I plug it into any 3.5 millimeter jack, and whatever that audio was, this turns into my audio source, and I can listen to that audio directly into my earbuds. And all of my friends and family or others that are around me can also listen to that as well. I can set it up as a private listening experience, and so they put in the code, and then we're all listening to the same audio experience. And then the last we'll talk about, it's similar to the hearing your best concept, but when you go into environments like this with the Echo, or you go into large arenas, or you're in places of worship where you actually want to have more clarity in the dialogue that you're hearing from the individual, you can actually set that up for an Auracast broadcast and get that clear language or clear audio. Now, because it is a multi-channel capabilities, you can actually do this in other languages as well. So you could have English, and you could have Spanish, or you could have Japanese, or you could have simultaneous translation happening at the same time. They're actually getting the main audio from us. So we talk about that in terms of listening clearly, but also listening clearly in the language of your choice, depending on the environment that you're going into. So how does that translate then into what we would think about in terms of fan engagement for multi-use sort of sports and entertainment venues? So many of those use cases actually then apply to many of the things that you may see and or be experiencing in the venues that you operate. It may even start straight from the very first point of interaction, where I just want to hear the ticket agent better and I want to have a better interacting experience. So you have an Auracast broadcast from that ticket agent. I'm able to hear the audio directly into my earbuds, or especially for people with hearing loss, into my hearing aids, cochlear implants, and so on. Second area is around staying in the game. I love going to live sporting events. Tell you, one of the most frustrating pieces is I got to get up. I need to go to the bathroom, or I want to get some food or a drink or whatever. And inevitably, I leave, I go into the concourse, and then all of a sudden there's a massive cheer going on out in the stadium. I'm trying to figure out what's going on, so I rush back over to see what's happening. Think of it as, what if you actually were able to provide live play-by-play in the arena, in the stadium, for the people that are not only in the stands, but the people that had to leave from their personal stands and come back into the concourse for one reason or another. Now, I know there's been silent TVs and TVs that have been implemented to try to help people stay in the game, but why not give them not only the video experience, but give them the audio experience as well? Now take that and translate that up to, what about the suite, where it's a VIP type of an experience? Now you can feed in different types of audio experiences for the VIPs in your market. Maybe it's piping in audio from coaches or from players. Maybe it's multi-language capabilities that you want to have. If you've got a big Spanish audience or Japanese audience and contingent, and you want to provide them local language, live play-by-play, you can do that as well in these types of experiences through the audio broadcast directly into their devices.
I'll kind of touch on that for a sec. One of my most recent deployments was a college athletic stadium, and kind of what Chuck is saying, why this is bridging into new areas that we really haven't seen in the world of just broadcast audio. This specific example, they wanted to do the normal play-by-play of the home announcer. They wanted to have the away announcer play-by-play, and they also wanted to have a third kind of language, or kind of a third channel set up for interpretation and things of that nature. And so just when I was working through the paces of that project, it was kind of like a light bulb. They're like, I could use this here, I could use this there. As Chuck said, hearing the agent. I mean, it just transcends into a lot of areas where conventionally or historically, it's just been, here's the broadcast of the main radio broadcast, main primary assisted listening channel. So it really is being able to kind of coalesce all these different types of broadcasts, or this audio that needed to be broadcast per se, and putting it all into one. So I think it's been already, in kind of just the recency that I've experienced it, has been a huge uplift in terms of fan engagement, making sure you're catering to a whole plethora of different audiences, just beyond just standard inclusion. So
it's perfect. And if you move away then even from the sports side and you move into maybe music or live concerts, one of the things we hear from users is about, and from individuals, is about audio fatigue and echo and other challenges in some of the arena areas where, let's all be quite honest, not a lot of them, maybe they're optimized for game, but they're not necessarily optimized for music. And so you can also then be laying in a more clear or a supplemented sound for people that need it specifically, and or just general individuals who want to have a little bit more clarity, maybe a little bit more information, or a little bit more clarity of the voice from the singer, or a better mixture of sound that balances the big boom and loudness associated with an environment with the clarity of the audio from the actual musicians and from the bands. And then the last area of application is around hearing the speaker. I don't know why I keep going to this example, but I keep thinking about the days of Billy Graham when he would do these massive venues with thousands of people, and you always saw that there was at least someone doing sign language for people who were deaf. but you are also applying to multiple people with different languages as well. So when you think about the advantage that you want to give to the venues that you have, for the speakers that you have, providing audio capabilities that allow them to have multiple language simultaneous translation of the message that's being delivered by that individual is a great opportunity for expanding the capabilities and expanding the opportunities associated with the, with the venue itself. Now you might ask the question, well, can I actually, if I deployed it, can I actually use it today, and can consumers and customers use it today? And the absolute answer to that is yes. Now the dedicated systems like what Listen has and what Amptronic has have actual dedicated receivers that can be used by individuals, but over 100 plus devices are now Auracast capable, with major brands all adopting and supporting this and coming into their products, like Samsung, Sony, Panasonic. Jabra has it in all of their devices. JBL, which is what I had showed you, has it in their speakers and in their headphones and in their earbuds as well. Sennheiser has them. It's being implemented. Android is actually implementing it natively in their operating system for a native capability for users that just started this year. So in short order, you're going to start seeing all Android devices enabled with Auracast capabilities for not only personal sharing, but that assistant capability, able to help users be able to see and join additional broadcasts. Now you may notice that there's one prominent logo that's not on here yet. Our favorite fruit company is not yet here, but we know that they're working on it. They're just very quiet about when and how they're going to do it. If you've been following the market at all, they've introduced their AirPods with hearing aid capabilities in them. So hearing is a prominent part of what they are supporting long term. And so the capabilities of Auracast fall in line with what they're actually going to be deploying. So it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when it'll actually be native on their platform as well. And you're also seeing it in TVs, like LG is implementing Auracast across their entire product line of televisions to have Auracast capabilities for a silent broadcast of audio for multiple different users that might want to get access to it.
I reference that website all the time, pretty much daily in my role, but it is amazing just to see on a weekly basis, because they log all the manufacturers that obviously are rolling out and implementing Auracast on their standard, and just seeing the pages and the different devices that keep growing and growing and proliferating, it just shows that a lot of these types of organizations, a lot of these manufacturers, they know what this technology is capable of. So I just think it's cool watching it just proliferate in the way that it has. So.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, it's very quickly becoming a standard feature for new devices that are coming to market. And even if, as I was talking about, Apple not having it natively deployed just yet, companies like Sennheiser and JBL and Jabra and Resound and others have implemented applications that actually take advantage of the capability that operate and work on an iPhone and can actually still give you the functionality. It's just not quite native just yet in the Apple platform. And if that wasn't enough, just to be super clear about Bluetooth, we are a worldwide technology that is ubiquitous amongst, around the world. We're not a fly-by-night technology, single manufacturer, proprietary. It's not going away. It's something that you can count on continuing to be available over the long term. So making a choice about implementation isn't making a choice about something that you fear may go away. This is something that's only going to get stronger, better, bigger, faster as time goes on. And it is anticipated by some analysts that there will be about 1.5 million locations enabled with Auracast in the next 4 to 5 years. I actually think that number's low as the momentum continues to build at this point in time. But your customers, your guests are going to start looking towards these types of capabilities and these types of opportunities, and they're going to be demanding those types of flexibility for their devices, for their experiences in the future. Now I'm going to hand it back off to Casey, who's going to talk a little bit more about some of the real-world applications of where it's actually been deployed already today.
Yeah, and so to kind of echo on the last slide that Chuck said about the proliferation and how it's growing, I've personally been involved in the discussions on, so obviously from Listen, we're working it from kind of the assistive listening is the primary thing with adjacent types of technologies and different types of use cases that's used for, but kind of referencing Chuck's latest slide about the proliferation, I have not ever seen in this type of landscape the kind of almost the grassroots attention to it. And a lot of it is, he mentioned one of the very first people that came to Bluetooth to talk about Auracast implementation were hearing aid manufacturers. So once they know, and by the way, you could go to basically any audiologist today, ask for an Auracast hearing aid. So that's happening at a pretty rapid rate. That's happened, like I said, before anything else. So as a subset of that, we're working with hearing aid manufacturers. Before a year ago, we never, at Listen Technologies, being an assistive listening company, never really interfaced with hearing aid manufacturers, with audiologists. Now we're creating this network, and it's happening very grassroots, and I mentioned how important that is because that just shows that once someone has this type of technology at their disposal, whether it's on their own wearables, or more importantly in this kind of context in their hearing aids, they want to utilize that. And it really is giving them more access to audio, especially for auditory health, than ever before. So that's why there's an excitement of brewing. But beyond this, as far as real life stadiums here in the States, we're pretty new. I mean, we're within a few months, about a quarter now, of actually being able to sell, install, commission, and see these things at work. So, like I said, even though the last year I've been really concentrating on kind of the research of it, working with architects, consultants. I mean, Legends is here, so I've had interactions with them on new stadium implementations. The one I referenced a few minutes ago about the 3 different broadcast channels, that was on UCF. That was their, please forgive me, assisted financial arena. So that's their basketball arena. That's the one I mentioned that they wanted to do assistive listening. They wanted to do home and away broadcast. So that's already up and implemented. That's getting used. And kind of going back to when I very first opened this up, when we talk about utilization of these technologies, right? So that's one thing. Again, I mean, I didn't kind of go into the backstory. So with my tenure of being at Listen for 19 years, I also had an older brother who he was born profoundly deaf. So I have the kind of the experience in the real world setting my whole life of why aren't these systems being used? Part of it is, one of them, there's a stigma attached to it. 2, a lot of people just don't know these exist. So that's another reason why I brought up the grassroots movement of this, because it shows the need already and the attention to it. So, but I bring that up kind of full circle with a lot of these real life applications that we've already been implemented in. There's a strong push for the venue to talk about new technology and a plethora of different technologies that are associated with that and what they hit. But the users, they're going to use this, and they already have, and it's proven itself over and over again that they're utilizing it 10 times over than what conventional assisted listening systems have been known for. So a couple other ones we have, like I said, we have the UCF. We're working with the Bills and their integrator to put that into their new stadium as well. That's been a big one for us. And then kind of going in even in the entertainment space, we partnered with an accessibility company that does all the stuff for Bonnaroo, Coachella, like all these outdoor festivals. So I can't wait to see more real life data come back to us off of stuff like that. But it just shows, again, like how easy it is to get these implemented and for the users to digest what this type of technology is.
And before you move on that, the area around the outdoor concerts and concert venues like Coachella and others, I've talked to a few installers that have been using previous and other types of technologies like Loop. If you're familiar with Loop at all, it's basically a wire that's down on the ground and on the floor. Yep. And if you're standing inside the Loop, you can hear the audio. If you're standing outside the Loop, you can't hear the audio based on the device in your ear. And I was talking to a guy who was saying that he was very excited about the fact that he had put down a loop in a concert venue, an outdoor concert venue, and how receptive people were to the fact that they could now hear the audio more clearly. And I said to him, I was like, okay, well, what happens if they're with their friends and they want to be upstage or they want to be in a certain part of the festival? He's like, well, yeah, I can't loop the entire outdoor festival. I can only do this one space. So if that person wants to hear well, they can hear in this little box. I'm like, well, that's not the answer for that individual, because they want to hear the audio where they want, when they want, with the people that they want, right? The people that they're there with. So when you think about the types of technology that we're talking about with Ori and the broadcast capabilities for Bluetooth, it is broad spectrum, broad area. Anywhere the coverage is, you can actually walk in and get the audio. You can be front of stage, you can be back. It doesn't matter. You have the equal capability to get there, and that's one of the bigger benefits of deploying this type of technology.
Well said. Well said.
We'll get to questions in just a second. Is that okay? All right.
So kind of going on to more of the real world impact here. I mean, if you've Googled, which by the way, I think we kind of said it, but in case, so Bluetooth, the term is Auracast. That's the actual Bluetooth standard. From Listen Amtronic's perspective, the name of our hardware, the product that's associated on that chassis is AURI, A-U-R-I. Some people say Aura, some people say R. So that's like, I hear both variations already. But so I kind of talked about some of the other stadiums and arenas and concert venues that's already had it. Another couple type of synonymous type of applications we've already put in. Sydney Opera House. If you Google anything with Ari and Sydney Opera House, what they've been able to do with that, with this technology, has been absolutely incredible. Contact theaters, you can see the Sydney International Conference Center. So rest of the world got a little bit more of a jump on it than the implementation here. Like I said, here in the States, we're only about 90 days or so before these have been out in the field. So we're catching up. We're definitely making up for lost ground there, but like some of these have already been in for a bit. So it's tried and true. And one thing that in the technology field as a whole, I know that sometimes there's apprehension associated with new technology. Bluetooth has been to work with this technology for a while, so it's not like a proof of concept. We have to put it in and wait to see how it's going to be, and then we could provide feedback. This is already tried and true, and these applications, once they kind of put them in, it's ready to go. They're ready to rock and roll there. So.
And another thing I just want to note is, if you're thinking about the broadness of what you can actually do here, is when you think about like a theater deployment, what they look at is multi-channel audio capabilities depending on whatever assistive type you need. It could be audio assistance. I just need to be able to hear a little bit better. It could be actually, you're blind. Well, you can hear the audio, but you can't see what's going on in the theater. So they do something what's called audio description. Audio description helps describe what the scene is like, what people are wearing, who's coming in, and setting that stage. So depending on what kind of audio assistance you may need, you can actually be delivering different channels from language to description to just assistive listening capabilities, and helping enhance the overall experience for the people that are actually joining you at your particular venue.
Well said. And by the way, in the States, assistive audio description, that's there. In some areas of the country, there is already legislation that's been written for that as well. But just the proliferation, I think part of ARI, what that brings us, or Auracast, is it's the same type of hardware that attributes it to both. So it makes it much more feasible to implement on both levels, whether it's assisted listening for the hard of hearing or whether it's the visually impaired for audio description. So as far as like the hardware, like I said, from the Listen Amtronic standpoint, it's really quite simple. As far as the deployment goes, it's basically, our SKU set for what we have on our end is about 6 SKUs. It's basically a transmitter, which is either an analog Phoenix connector input, or we have Dante. Then we have a body pack receiver. So stop right there. That gives us the parallel to any historic assistive listening system we've had, whether it be RF or infrared, loop, anything of that. So that hits for whatever you wanted for assistive listening. Then we talk about different parts within the hardware, audio quality being much more improved, much more capability for channel deployment, things of that nature. And obviously we have like charging cases and whatnot. But kind of as Chuck went through his motion, yeah, we have the receiver. That'll hit maybe legislation, ADA compliance if you have to hit that. But what really impacts with Ari is the different types of devices, consumer devices that we all have that will be able to implement on this. So he talked about, is that JBLs you had? Yeah, so wireless JBLs, hearing aids. I talked about the proliferation of those. So basically, if I'm a hearing aid user, I could go into a venue. If I know that I have Ari, all I have to do is just hit that stream. And it's kind of similar to when you're going onto a Wi-Fi network now. So you have your whole set, you have your different SSIDs. You go, okay, I want to hit that broadcast stream. That's going to go to my hearing aid. That's going to go to my wireless headset or earpiece that I have. So a lot of times the receiver for ADA compliancy, yes, but most of the time we're going to see this used outside just on our own native devices. So as far as I keep talking about the convenience. So I'm going to talk about it from a couple different levels. So for the attendees, this does give you, like I said, a personalized audio experience to drive that guest satisfaction. What I said, and kind of as I opened up with this, is historic assisted listening has been kind of just that mid-level. We have a way to do 48 kilohertz on here. So we're doing music, we're doing full-on like high-quality mode, which is imperative in the entertainment space, the sports space, when you're doing that play-by-play announcement. So having that type of capability just opens it up even more, makes it even more easy for the venue or for the user to have a great experience with that. And then we talked about it from VIP fan experiences. That's been a thing I've been seeing a lot. I mean, Chuck brought it up about just being able to have that into the VIP setting or in your hospitality suites. We see a lot of different areas with that too. And then same with the actual venue. So the venue, I like to say, so simplified accessibility, optimized simplicity, any type of way you want to say it. That's for the venue, that's where it really helps them for their implementation here. So when we say it's scalable, the way that I kind of been talking about this is there's no limitation to the amount of users that could use a system. There's no real limitation to the amount of distance. So going back to our hardware where we have our transmitter, we're getting about 100 meters in a direct open line of sight. So the transmitter is at the back of this room. We've been testing this throughout the week. This covers this room. It covers a little bit outside of it. You could interconnect more of those transmitters just to get to whatever that desired range is. So when you're talking about the concept of being able to have full immersive experience with audio in the stadium arena seating area, but then being able to transcend that out and bring that out to the concourse. That is something that we've already started to see. That's a huge request. So if you are going to the restroom, if you are going to get a beer or whatnot, you're not going to miss any of the audio that's going through. So, but for the venue, as it pertains to the venue, once you're in, it's in. You could monitor this remotely. There's a whole different reasons why this is scalable and helps the venue better manage these as well. And one thing, and I kind of brought up a minute ago with the grassroots movement behind this, the request for it. Again, we're only 90 days out, and it's funny because I actually had a call on this a couple of days ago, and someone's like, "Why do you have this deployed more?" And it was an audiologist that's pushing it around all the different local, I think the high school circuit of Indiana right now is really hot on it. So, but the reason why I brought it up is that they said we're basically too late. We have a whole plethora of people that have Auracast enabled hearing aids that want to be able to go to games, church services, want to be able to utilize it. So as far as kind of the revenue enhancement and being able to have a VIP package or experience with that, I think it's because there is going to be that request that proliferates and continues. The demand's going to continue more than we've ever seen with conventional assisted listening. So as far as kind of the differentiation here, we talked about the ease of use, the user experience, be able to use your own consumer devices. We kind of hit it a few slides ago. where we talk about how Android already has this natively. So bringing in full circle here, rather than having to go and ask for a body pack receiver, having to worry about downloading an app or whatnot, a lot of times people are going to go up to this venue and they just have it natively on their phone, or they already have it through their own hearing aid. They know how to connect to this. So they don't have that intermediary, that in between where they have to worry about going to guest services or going and downloading some random app. It's going to be there. It's already going to be there. They're already going to know how to facilitate this. So the user experience just outside of that is what really separates a lot of this. And then, like I said, the high quality audio, I can't mention or emphasize that enough, just how big of a difference that's already been. So
Yeah, I'll actually just be honest with you that even though we're only maybe 20 feet away, the echo in this room is so bad. I can't actually understand what you're saying when we're actually listening to this. So I actually put the earbud in my ear and turned on the broadcast, and now I'm listening to him through my earbud because it's a little bit easier for me to understand exactly what
I was wondering what you were doing there. So, okay.
And that's how simple it is, right? I'm just using, I didn't even pull my phone out. I'm just using the case itself as the assistant to actually allow the transmitter to go in. And that's what you get out of the receivers. That's what you get out of having these within the consumer devices for the future. And if I can talk and listen to myself at the same time, the latency is here, right? Very, very low latency that doesn't bother me at all for having a conversation, even when I'm listening to myself in my right ear. So just keep that all in mind as you think about technology that you're trying to bring into and how you might be able to utilize audio in unique ways within your organizations, within your venues.
Yeah. In fact, because like I said, we do have a Wi-Fi based line where we have audio that goes over the Wi-Fi network, the existing infrastructure. I bring this up, and I don't mean to disparage it, but what we've seen is you're depending on a Wi-Fi infrastructure that's already existing. You're basically, we are an appliance that lives on that network. So if that network goes down, the ALS goes down. But there is an inherent latency. There's always going to be a little bit of latency naturally throwing an audio feed or an audio packet over a Wi-Fi network. So while it is our fastest growing, and there's definitely a lot of use cases and a lot of different places where that's applicable, in the stadium experience, when you're talking about enhancing the fan experience and making it inclusive for everybody, having something that's very, like the latency is virtually undetectable. So that makes a huge difference as well. So that's a good point, Chuck. I didn't bring that up, but that's something that we've already seen. Being able to avoid the existing Wi-Fi infrastructure, create your own ecosystem, and have the variants of all those different audio feeds, whether it's assisted listening, audio description, languages, whatever you have, that's a huge benchmark for this as well.